Hey, what's up YouTube? In this video, I'll be showing you how to make a TV studio. Please leave a suggestion down below letting me know what I should make next, whether that be a real world build like this one, or something from a cartoon, movie, video game. Let me know down below in the comment section. Not only will I show you how to make this lovely, wonderful, large building, but I will also show you how to make the entire inside, which includes a reception, editing room, a TV camera with cameraman, a news set, the weather, a talk show set. Moving upstairs, we have an entire floor dedicated to shooting a sitcom, which includes a driveway, living room, kitchen, bedroom, and we also have a cheeky craft services at the end. This is the amount of space required to make the TV studio. Here are half of the materials that we will use throughout the build, and here are the other half. That's a lot of stuff. Begin by placing 5 light grey concrete in a row on the ground. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then extend forwards by 2. 1, 2. Dig in the ground to the right by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. On the end of that row, place a light grey concrete and extend it backwards by 1 row. We then want to dig in the ground to the right by 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and place sea lanterns in there instead. We then want to continue to the right and place 4 light grey concrete. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then dig a row of 7 to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, which we will fill in with sea lanterns. We then want to continue by placing 4 light grey concrete. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then dig 5 more rows to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, with sea lanterns inside of the empty space. We then want to place 5 light grey concrete extending to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we want to extend back by 1, and then right by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We then want to extend towards the back of the build by 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We then want to extend inwards by 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then backwards by 3. 1, 2, 3. And then extending further across the back of the build, place a row of 8 light grey concrete. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then extend inwards by 3. 1, 2, 3. Then extend to the right by 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Then extend backwards by 3. 1, 2, 3. Then extend across the back of the build to the right by 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then inwards by 3. 1, 2, 3. We then finally want to extend to the right by 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then we should be able to just connect all the way back to where we first started, and we will be left with this rather interesting shape. Next, we are going to remove all of the grass inside of our TV studio and replace it. with oak plank. The floor is a little bit more complicated than this, however it's just easier to start with an oak plank base. Next, come all the way back to where you very first started, which is right here, and place on top of this light grey concrete block 4 white concrete, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 2 light grey, 1, 2, 5 white concrete, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then a light grey. This row is the row that we are now going to place on top of every single light grey concrete block that we have used for the base of our TV studio. So we are going to place this exact pattern of 4 white concrete, 2 light grey, 5 white concrete, 1 light grey, all the way along, well, every single side of the building. This is going to be how we make the majority of our wall. Next, we are going to focus our attention on the front of the building. So on top of every single sea lantern that we placed in the ground, we are going to place on top of them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 black glass, and then 2 light grey concrete, 5 more glass, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then a light grey concrete. And we want to place this configuration of blocks on top of every single sea lantern that we have placed in the ground. And this will pretty much fill in the entire front of the studio. Next, we are going to extend this portion of the wall of the studio 1 row forwards. So every single light grey concrete block and every single white concrete block, we simply just want to extend forwards. And this is going to help us create a sense of depth, as now what we can do is place a row of light grey concrete in between these 2 sticky out parts of the building, like this. So we want to extend that upper row of light grey concrete forwards, and then extend it forwards once more, and also just to the left and right by 1. So the effect will look like this. That is absolutely perfect. And I'm realizing that we should really take care of the entrance area so that this makes more sense. So all the way down here, this is the entrance. We want to place 3, 1, 2, 3, black glass extending left of this wall here, and then add another row to it, and then a row of black stained glass pane. Suspend an end rod in front of the center glass pane, and then around this area, and even just on top of the glass actually, we'll make it a solid section. We want to place a row of white concrete, add another on top of it, and then add 2 rows of light grey concrete on top of the white, and then we are going to add rows of white concrete extending all the way up to the very top. You could even have a window in here as well, but for the sake of symmetry we won't, all the way up to the top until we eventually just hit this light grey part. And there we go. I think that was throwing me off a little bit, because now if we take a look at the building, there we go, it's just nice and symmetrical. So this leads us on to the next part. Inside of our building, we want to add a second floor. This is made, to begin with just oak planks. So in the middle of the building, we have 2 rows of light grey concrete. You want to take the upper row of light grey concrete and just place oak planks connecting everything together. And whilst we are up here, we can actually just fill the entire roof in as well. This is going to be filled in with light grey concrete. I'm going to be a little bit more strategic this time around, and I'm going to fill all of those weird alcoves in first, and then I will fill the centre of the shape in. It's only taken like 3 times filling the shape in entirely to learn, but, you know, we got there eventually. So when it comes to the roof, we are also just going to fill the little gaps in at the back as well. And we are going to extend the top of the roof backwards too. So we're not going to have a real shape for the roof. It is basically just a giant slab of rectangular light grey concrete. And we'll do a very, very similar thing on the front as well. So coming to the front, once again, we're going to do the exact same thing. So filling in all in between the center areas here, and eventually the roof on the front of the building will just overhang one row. You could make it 2 rows if you wanted to, but 1 should be sufficient. The only reason I was thinking about 2 is if you look a little bit lower at the TV studio, then there is like a sign. And it might be cool for the roof to poke out a little bit further over than that, but I think it's quite impressive looking as it is, so we'll leave it at that. On the front of the building, we want to come up to the 2nd story centre window and place 2 rows of light grey concrete at the bottom of it, and extend the light grey concrete left and right by 1 row, just like this. Next, let's add a wall around our TV studio. So we want to place a double high row of bricks starting from the front left hand corner of our grid, extending all the way back on top of the grid. Feel free to place these 1 or 2 at a time, although I feel as though I'm in a zone with placing these right now. I feel as though I'm going to mess up any time, but we want to extend all the way to the back, and then, there we go, and then across the back. Guys, it's falling apart. Okay, never mind. We might start placing these 1 by 1. Yeah, okay, so all the way across the back. And then we want to extend to the front. But we want to stop here, where we line up with the front of the building. So once we have done that, we are going to add a row of oak leaves in front of this little particular part of the building. If you want to make kind of like a little alley that kind of like leads around the back here, you can. I don't know what the purpose of this could be, although there is actually like a booth here. So it might actually be cool to have access to the booth, like a staff entrance only, just around this side of the building. So actually, this is cool. So remove all of this, place some smooth stone here, and we'll stick a door on this a little bit later on, and we can even have some oak leaves, maybe just like this, just on the side. Maybe we'll turn this into a bit of podzol, and we can stick some ferns there. So, coming to the front, we want to place oak leaves in front of the light grey concrete sections here, and we want to remove this grass and place podzol instead, and ferns on the podzol, And then all the way over on the left, we are going to place a row of oak leaves. Now this time, there's no real reason to have this area exposed because it doesn't really go anywhere. It takes us to like a set of stairs, so I think that we'll just completely leaf this area up. And in front of this, we will just remove a row, place some podzol, and then ferns in there instead. So that's looking pretty nice. We've got to remove the area in front of these leaves as well, place podzol and some ferns, which leads us on to this next bit. We are going to place a row of smooth stone, pretty much just extending all the way from the right side of the building all the way to the entrance right here. So we want to just place some smooth stone in here. And then we also want to remove a row of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in front of this wall. And then we want to extend left by 1, 2, 3, and then that might be it actually, 3. And we will remove this area here and replace it with smooth stone. There we go, that's perfect. We may actually have to shift this over ever so slightly, but I don't think so. We are going to extend a 3-row wide path, 1, 2, 3, from the entrance area here all the way to the end of the grid, or to the front of the grid, I should say. So this is just going to be a footpath. So in the corner of this footpath here, we want to destroy this grass block and place a white concrete powder. And right of that, 3 yellow carpet. 1, 2, 3. Destroy the next block, white concrete powder, 3 yellow carpet, white concrete powder. 1, 2, 3 yellow carpet, concrete powder. 1, 2, 3 yellow carpet, concrete powder. So on and so forth until we will eventually connect to or near the smooth stone area that we were just placing earlier. We're going to find out how wrong we were. We actually weren't too far wrong. So we've kind of ran out of room here. We want to add another row of smooth stone. I was contemplating whether we needed another row or not, but here we go. So we want to have that. We don't necessarily need this row of white concrete powder here. It's right next to like a footpath, but I guess it is symmetrical with the other side, so we'll leave it as is. But what we do need to do is remove all of the grass and the remaining part of the grid at the front of the build. With all of this area removed, the easiest way to start filling this in is by extending every single row of white concrete powder forwards by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And so on and so forth. Literally forth. We can then fill in between all of these car parking spaces with grey concrete powder. We then want to fill in 3 entire rows in front of every single car parking space, 1, 2, 3, with grey concrete powder. So this will extend all the way over from this very left space, all the way over to the very right of the grid. Then, we are going to take all of the empty remaining space and fill it in with lime terracotta. This also includes the area all the way over on the left side of the build as well. Next, we are going to make a small security kiosk starting here. Place a row of 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 light blue concretes, then an oak door extending back, and then 2, 1, 2 light blue concretes extending back from there, extend across and join back to the front. We then want to place light grey concrete inside here, smooth quartz stair here, lever here, button here, and then we want to place black glass here, and just a couple of... Actually, we'll extend the glass all the way to the front and then place a glass pane here. What we can then do is leave this block open, place the light blue concrete all the way around the empty space, and then smooth quartz slabs on top of this, which will give us this, a security kiosk, which we then want to place a red nether brick wall extending out of the corner of, and then a diorite wall and a red nether brick wall. So this is kind of one of those security arms that have to be like placed up and down, so you can't just plow straight through this in your car. And then if we come all the way over to the corner of this area of grass here, we want to place 2 red concrete on top of each other and extend to the right by 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Add another row on top. Add another row in front. And then we can add iron bars lining up with the back row of red concrete, all the way here just on the left side of this path, but all the way over here on the right. And this will extend all the way over to the right, just like this. It will connect to that security arm. We want to have this be 2 rows high. And we might even add like another row here as well of just iron bars. And you would want to integrate this into your city with some footpaths or something, but this is kind of like the bare minimum amount of space required to have your TV studio. So however you want to connect it to your city from here is going to be up to you. You'll see how I do it later when we move it into the city. Anyway, the part that we have all been dreading, we must now make the dreaded signs. So the first signs we are going to make will spell out the news. So that's going to be placed on the red concrete area there. Throw down a loom, open it up, place a red banner in there with some white dye, and we will spell out literally the news in letters. So first letter is T, that is the chief pattern, pale. Next is H, pale dexter, pale sinister, fess. Next is E, chief, fess, base, pale dexter, so that is the. Next would be N, pale dexter, pale sinister, bend. The next letter we would need is E, but we already have one, so moving on to W, we place the chevron pattern, put red dye in there, base indented, white dye back in, place the pale Dexter pattern, pale sinister, and then lastly we need to make S, which is going to be chief, base, bend. And we will place these now just so that we don't clutter up the inventory. So T, H, E, space, N, E, W, S. So it fits perfectly. I would also highly recommend keeping onto these if you are in creative mode, as we will indeed need these for the inside as well. So I'm just going to store them in this handy little chest now. And now we are going to move over onto the next set of signs. So this set of signs will literally just read TV Studio. So light blue banner in the loom with some white dye. The first letter we must make is T. So once again, the chief pattern, pale. Next is V, which is pale Dexter, and then bend sinister, so TV. V's always look a little bit weird. You can actually place it going the other way as well, with a pale sinister and then just regular bend, but I'll leave that up to you. Anyway, next is S, so chief, base, bend. Next would be T again, but we already have one, so pale Dexter, pale sinister, base. Next is D, so this one's a little bit trickier, pale sinister, put light blue dye in there. We're looking for the lozenge pattern, put white dye back in, and then base, chief, pale Dexter. So next is I, so this is the pale pattern. And lastly, we have to make O, which is pale Dexter, pale sinister, chief, base. Perfect. So we can get rid of the loom, and if we come all the way up to here, T, V, space, S, T, U, D, I, O. So TV Studio, the news, and you could even put some other stuff on there as well, like if so, for instance, there's like a talk show in there as well, so if you wanted to make up your name for a talk show, and there's also a sitcom that gets shot in there as well, so do feel free to add some other fun signs, but I think that this is perfect for me. Once again, I'm not actually sure if we will need these again, but just to be safe. The first part that we are actually going to be working on is just left as we enter the building. So first of all, we are going to want to count and find the 6th block right of this light grey concrete. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and place a light grey concrete here. Extend it and connect it to the back wall like this, and then place smooth quartz stairs here, above and behind here, and then create smooth quartz blocks here. We then want to place smooth quartz stair just singularly, extending all the way up to the next floor of the building until we eventually reach this part here, and this is going to be how we get up and down the TV studio. So we can make this look a little bit nicer by adding in some white concrete along the light grey concrete. This can extend all the way up to the ceiling just like so. Additionally, we can reduce the amount of headspace here. We unfortunately have to leave this block exposed, but we can place smooth quartz slabs here, like this, right? And then we can place white concrete here, and either white concrete with a mixture of light grey. The reason being is just so that it like matches the side here, but it's up to you whether you want to have it stand out or whether you want it to kind of like all blend in. But the point is that we can then place this and then create like a lip of white concrete just above all of the slabs, and then again, I don't know whether it actually looks better to have the light grey, and we'll extend and connect this across like this. And we can probably just fill this in here. So that looks quite, unfortunately. Well, what if we remove that though? Yeah, there we go. Then that's a nice little, a nice amount of room. And we're just going to want to have this feel like a corridor as well, by the way. So we may be able to just remove some of the oak planks here. And I think that a double wide space walking up into this floor is fine. We might even have to reduce the amount of space in here as well. So here, here, and maybe we'll just have like a little 1x1 so that as soon as we kind of like enter this part of the building, it's kind of like a surprise. So like we don't want to see anything as we approach the top of the stairs, and then when we walk in, it will feel a lot cooler to have just like a bunch of stuff presented to us rather than kind of like seeing it before. So this little alcove that we have created here is going to be a welcome desk. So I imagine quite a few different people would be like coming in and out of the studio, especially with like a talk show. There'd be people coming in and out, so we need a little secretary desk. Place a row of light grey terracotta extending from the wall all the way over to the left, leaving a gap of 1 which we will occupy with an oak trapdoor. Place bookshelves in this space behind, so a 2x2 square on the left and right like this. We then want to place a... So this is kind of difficult to do because we've placed the quartz stairs. We want to have a... Come on. No. Okay, fine. So we want to have a smooth quartz stair here for a seat. We will stick a flower pot on the end here, a lantern. You can either leave that as a drinks cup or just as a flower pot. And then we want to grab some green carpet just in front of this. It's just a nice earthy tone to go with the light grey terracotta. Heavy weighted pressure plate in front of that stair, and then a trapdoor. So here we go, nice little area here. If you want to, you can have some like seats, just kind of like against this wall, just kind of as like a little waiting sort of area as well. But I don't really want to cramp this area too badly. So we have the reception, we have, and again, I don't know whether I want to kind of like smooth this area off. I think that we can still walk upstairs. Yeah, it looks kind of cool like this. It looks more uniform. So we have the reception, we have the stairs, and before we move on to any of the individual sets in the studio, we are going to come all the way over to the right side. So all the way over here on the right side of the studio, we want to have kind of like a control room. So to start off with, we will place a door here and then a row of light grey concrete extending all the way over to the left. So it extends naturally from this block right here. We want to place white concrete surrounding the door and white concrete over here on the left side. And we'll extend and cross over. So around the door, we want a lever to open it up, a redstone torch because it kind of just looks like something that might be here, and then you can have, I don't know, control room or whatever you might call it, editing room, you know, whatever it is that you want to like label this is completely fine. We'll fill that area in with glass and we will connect all the way up to the next floor also. So opening this up, inside here, it's really simple. So the idea is that we just have like a bunch of monitors in here. So we are going to place, starting from this left side, 2 polished andesite, and we need to place black concrete on top of these. And then next to these note blocks, 2 polished andesite, black concrete, note blocks, and then polished andesite, black concrete, perfect. So we will also want to grab a sign as well, and this is where things start getting like a bit optional. So on the left side here, I'm just going to have a painting, and then just to the right, we'll have like the news, right? And then this middle part, we will have a painting, and then like the weather, you know? And then just over to the right here, we will have a painting, and then we will have like talk show, whatever that might be. We'll stick some chairs in front of each one of these. And this does coincide. You guys might remember earlier how I mentioned like, oh, it might be a good idea to have like an employee entrance. Well, we can still have that, and this is where the employee entrance would go, like straight to this editing room. And we can pretty much just have the exact same thing, just a door and a lever, and it's just like a nice quick way all the way over to this side of the building rather than having to walk all the way through. And there we go, really simple control room. And not only do we want this downstairs, but we'll take a little cheat code. We actually want to come upstairs and we want to do the exact same thing starting from here, minus the little sneaky door because, well, you just fall straight off of the second floor. So starting up here, same thing, iron door, row of light grey concrete extending all the way over to the left, white concrete around the door, white concrete row here, extending up and across. We can add a row of white concrete just above this. Fill all of this in with glass, just like so. A redstone torch here, and then control room. I mean, you can even label them too. It might not even be a good idea. Like, control room might seem a little bit weird. Editing room, whatever. So moving inside the control room, we are going to do a very similar thing in the case of that we'll have the andesite blocks, 2 note blocks, andesite blocks, 2 note blocks, andesite, and we'll have all of the black concrete, and we will have all of the quartz stairs for seats that we had previous, but we're not going to label these. So the reason being is, it might be easier to start from the side actually. So the reason being is this is like a sitcom floor. So we have like a bunch of set design on this particular floor, but it's all for one thing, so it wouldn't make sense to label all of these. So there's like going to be like a garage, a living room, a bedroom, a kitchen, etc, etc. So we're just going to leave that as is. Next, we are going to do a little bit of preparation before we start making the individual sets. So starting on the ground level all the way over to the left here, we want to place 2 brown glazed terracotta against this wall with a 2x2 square of oak leaves on top. We then want to make sure that we can place a row of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 light blue concrete connecting the white concrete wall here together with this wall. And we want to throw 3 more rows of light blue concrete on top to cover up any white concrete that we would have. We have to be able to place 7 rows. Just to the right here, we'll leave a gap of 1 and place 2 brown glazed terracotta with a 2x2 square of oak leaves on top. We then want to leave a gap of 1 right of this and place 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lime concrete powder, and then we want to place 1, 2, 3 rows on top. So we will have something which should look like this. We should then be able to leave a gap of 1 and place 2 brown glazed terracotta with a 2x2 square of leaves, just like this. Then, in this area here, we should be able to place a row of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 magenta terracotta. You will notice that we now have to add a row of light grey concrete to the right of this and white concrete to reduce the amount of space that we have here. There's a specific reason we want it to be the size that you will see later, but whilst we're here with the magenta terracotta, we will extend the magenta terracotta forwards until it overhangs. Let's go 2. So it overhangs everything by 2 rows, and then we should be able to leave a gap of 1 here, 2 brown glazed terracotta next to each other with oak leaves. And here we go. So we have the beginnings of each one of the sets now, which is really, really cool. And everything's spaced nicely. Remember earlier when I told you to hang on to the news banners? Well, we're going to need them. So as you may have guessed, the first set that we are going to work on is the news set. So to make this, we are going to place THE across the top of this, and then underneath NEWS. Perfect, the news. So we also want to create a table. The table sits just in front of and in between. It's kind of hard to describe. So we place a lectern here. It might be easier to place like the base of the table. We place a lectern here, lining up with the E, and just in front of where the terracotta plants are. So hopefully that makes a little bit more sense. Then we place upside down smooth quartz stairs in front of the front and the sides of this, and then we place red concrete underneath the stairs blocks, just like so. That's perfect. Then we are going to place a book and quill on the lectern and end rods behind the 2 red concretes with brown carpet on top of the end rods and spruce trapdoors behind the brown carpet flipped up just like so to give us 2 seats. And then we are just going to dig around the table like this, probably just 1 row in front. And yeah, I guess 1 row behind as well, despite the fact that we don't really see it. And in the ground, just to shake things up a bit, light grey terracotta. This is quickly, for some unknown reason, becoming one of my favourite building materials. I just think it looks really cool. And there we go. This is the news set for now. Moving on to the weather, throw down the loom, open it up, place a white banner in there with some light blue dye, and apply the Perfess inverted pattern. Grab that, put that back in, put yellow dye in there, and apply the Chief Sinister Canton pattern. We'll keep that banner for now. We now want to place a fresh banner in there with some black dye and apply the Chief, Base, and then the Bend Sinister pattern. Lastly, throw a fresh banner in there, Pale Dexter, and then the Chief Sinister Canton pattern. And then we want to place this banner here in the top left corner, that one next to it, and then that banner in the corner. So we kind of have like 21 degrees and then kind of like a nice little weather symbol. So kind of like cloudy with a touch of sun. And what we then want to do is we want to take the middle of this area, place a target block just in front so that the weather person knows where to stand, and then we are going to remove... Actually, you know what? I've just noticed as well. We actually either... So the two options here. We either want to remove directly in front of the lime concrete powder like this, so it kind of like matches up, or we want to remove this oak planks here. I actually think it looks better to have more of a barrier in between the sets, so we'll probably just leave it like that. And that's, for now, that is the weather set complete. Moving on down to the final set, we will have a talk show. So we want to make a sofa by placing smooth quartz stairs just along the back here, leaving a gap of 1 from pretty much everything. A smooth quartz stair here, leave a gap of 1 in front of it, and then place 2 smooth quartz slabs just like this. A flower pot here, here with azaleas in the flower pot, and then just above the sofa at the back, we want to have a specific painting, and none of those are the painting. We might have to grab the specific one just for the sake of time. So the painting that we are looking for is Sunset Dents, and basically we just want to place these across the back to kind of like give the illusion that there's like a background behind the talk show. It just looks kind of cool. And honestly, other than a couple of sets of seats in front of the stage, leading, yeah, if you leave a gap of 1 from either side of the stage and just have a couple of double seats just like this, then that will be just fine. And we can also, although, you know what, shall we kind of follow the trend and have just 2 sets of seating and then light grey terracotta, and then everything's just so nice and uniform this way. I think that that's perfect. And that's pretty much the ground level 100% fully complete. So with downstairs pretty much done, we are now going to head upstairs and work on the sitcom set. We're actually going to start all the way over here on this left side, and we will place a terracotta here in this corner, extend up by 2 rows, place a row of 3, 1, 2, 3 stone brick stairs extending right of each one of the terracottas with terracotta on the end. Then a stone button here in the middle. We then want to place smooth stone slabs in front of the top of the terracotta, extending all the way up and then back, just like this. Then we are going to place moss carpet in front of the left and right sides here, so in front of the terracottas, and we just need to place, I believe, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 would do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then, in between this, against the door, we will place a row of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 red wool, just like this. And then red wool on top of here. Glass on top of here. Red carpet on top of pretty much everything, just like so. Then a grey carpet in between the moss, just like this. And then we are going to place glow item frames. So as you can see, we have a garage, essentially. So this is actually one part of the set complete, but now we are just going to kind of like make the rooms for the other parts. So right of this garage, we are going to place a row of 7 pillar quartz. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We then want to extend the pillar quartz forwards by 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like so, and then place yellow glazed terracotta on top of each of these until we eventually hit the ceiling. Perfect. So right of this, we are going to place another row of quartz pillar. I always call it pillar quartz. And then we will place red glazed terracotta on top, leading from the floor all the way up until the ceiling. And then against this back wall, place a row of 10 quartz pillar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, extending all the way over to the right. 5 rows forwards, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like this. And then we want to place the red glazed terracotta on top of all of this, extending all the way up to the ceiling. Then, right of this, we are going to place a layer of quartz pillar with green glazed terracotta on top this time, leading all the way up to the ceiling. And then we are going to extend across the back to the right by 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 with the quartz pillar. And then green glazed terracotta on top, of course. Extend forwards by once again 5. And then place some green glazed terracotta extending all the way up. So the only thing here is we are going to also want to just kind of like extend this wall forwards, and by placing a row of light grey concrete kind of like connecting to the editing room, just like so. We'll also want to be able to get in here too, so we'll probably extend this row. Like so, we'll remove this. And then against this back wall, just a bunch of like craft services stuff. So this is where actors and actresses and what have you would hang out in between takes and all of the other fun things and that actors and actresses do in whatever. And we are going to have against this wall a furnace, a crafting table. We'll have like cake. We'll have like flower pots, we'll have like a drinks machine in the form of a brewing stand, and then really it would make sense just to have like a bunch of seats because people would just be kind of like waiting about, you know, so maybe just some seating like this, and maybe we don't have it go this far, and that's pretty much it. There really wouldn't be too much more to it unless you wanted to add some more depth with adding some like more flower pots in terms of like just more drinks, and if you wanted to add some cupboards in the form of like shulker boxes and stuff, like you could, but it's not really meant to be that complex. It is literally just a room to hang out and eat and drink stuff. So coming all the way back to this first room, the yellow room, this is the living room. So first of all, we will make a sofa by placing a smooth quartz stair against the back wall here, with 2 end rods on top of each other and a quartz pillar on top. We also have to make doorways, by the way. They are in the exact same place through the entire set. So all the way over there at Craft Services, you can just extrapolate. There we go. A couple of note blocks here. 2 by 2 square of black concrete on top. And then we are going to have a painting for the TV. So that's my personal favourite. Karate. It's actually not karate. Do you guys know that's meant to be like an angel or something? I always see like a guy doing karate, like jumping in the air ready to karate chop somebody. Anyway, so what we then want to do is leave a gap of 1 in front of the sofa and have a little coffee table, and then brown carpet in front of all of this, the same width as the sofa. And there we go. Nice little simple living room scene. Moving on to the next room, we have a rather large kitchen, so leave a gap of 1 here and place a furnace, then 2 white concrete to the right, cauldron next to it, tripwire hook above, and then white concrete to the right, 2 block of iron on top of each other, white concrete to the right, stone button in front of the block of iron, and then 3 white shulker box, 1, 2, 3 above the left side of this counter space, flower pot on top of this first white concrete brewing stand to the right, and then we want to place a 2 by 2 square of white concrete just here, almost in the corner. Then we are going to place smooth quartz stairs either side of the white concrete, and on one side flower pots, the other side item frames, steak in one, bread in the other, item frame above this furnace with some sort of food stuff in it. We are also going to make a little rug out of a checkered pattern of white and black carpet, just like this, kind of like over here in this corner. We can even have some paintings as well, just to liven this place up a little bit, because it is a lot of red. We could even have like a fake window. So like we could have like, say, is this the actual wall of the... Okay, it is the actual wall. That's a shame. But like we can have some like glass or something regardless. So we kind of have like a fake window just like this. And there we go. I think that looks pretty cool. I did also think it'd be cool to give the cupboard some like life as well, so throw down the loom, open it up, white banner in there with some grey dye, apply the pale sinister pattern, followed by the bourgeois pattern with the white dye, and then do the opposite side, so like white banner in there with grey dye, and do the opposite, so pale dexter instead of pale sinister with white dye in there and the bourgeois pattern. Then we can actually apply this to each one of the cupboards. And it just looks kind of cool. It looks like the cupboards have handles. You could even have them face the same way on like this side in particular since they're single cupboards. But yeah, cool. And finally, the green room, aka the bedroom. Leave a gap of 1 over here on the left and place a white concrete, and next to that, 2 quartz pillar. Right of that, a chest with a tripwire hook above it, and on top of the quartz pillar, upside down, smooth quartz stair, double green bed in front of the quartz pillar with green banners in front of the bed, and then green carpet left and right just like so. We also want a painting on this wall, so maybe just like a little one by what? Why is the painting not going there? That's weird. Huh. Oh, I accidentally grabbed the sunset. Well, you know what? Maybe it was just meant to be. So on this table here, we want to make a lamp by placing an end rod and white glazed terracotta on top. And, well, that's pretty much everything. We aren't going to overfill this room, and that is the bedroom complete. Next up, I will show you how to make a cameraman with a camera. Let's start off by placing one in front of the news set. So the camera is 3 rows long, and we want to kind of place it in the middle of the floor. So lining up with this lectern, we have a row of 5 oak planks. So we will take the 3rd oak plank, so the one right in the middle here, dig down by 2, place a block of redstone there with a piston on top. So that's the middle of the camera. We then want to place a block of coal on top of that, extend in front by 1, a 1 by 1 painting, or alternatively it might be a bit easier to place this opposite way around. So an open fence gate and then a 1 by 1 painting just inside the fence like this. Then on top of the block of coal that we just placed that on, we then want to place a redstone comparator and light it up. We then want to place a stone button here, here, a lever here, and maybe even a button underneath the camera as well, so just here too. An item frame in front of the camera, and then a glass pane inside the item frame, so you can have it face this way or this way. I actually think it looks a lot better this way. We are then going to place an arm stand here, so just next to the button on this side of the camera. It actually doesn't matter which side you place it, to be honest. So we want to attach a Steve head, leather tunic, and netherite boots. And then we are going to open up a crafting table, leather trousers, blue dye, and throw those on there as well. And there we have a cameraman with a camera pointed directly at the news. So theoretically, you would want to have one of these in front of every single set really, so you don't necessarily have to, of course, but I mean it would look better if you did that. There we go, that looks better. So when it comes to the second story, where we have this giant sitcom set, we probably wouldn't have a camera pointed at each individual room. There'd probably only be a camera for the active part of the set. So let's have the kitchen area have a camera, and I do also have to point out that we can't have a piston on the second floor. So instead of a piston, we will go for an oak fence instead. So it's a little bit tricky here as well because we just don't have quite as much room. So we'll have an oak fence, block of coal on top, block of coal pointing forwards, and then I guess we've got kind of like a nice close shot. But we make it, other than that, we will make it in the exact same way that we have made every single other camera. There we go. perfect. So this way, with this being positioned here, we can still like walk around, and if you did want to say like put another one like in one of the other rooms somewhere, then you could absolutely feel free, but I don't think that there would be a bunch around. Of course, I've never been on like a sitcom TV set, but One last little optional extra for you, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to occupy the TV studio with a bunch of villagers just to make it seem a little bit more alive. You could also use them for the camera people as well, but I kind of like Steve doing it. So we are going to have to place a bunch of barriers where we want the villagers to stay. So for instance, like for the news, I want them to kind of like stay in here and here. So to give yourself a barrier, /give your username tsmcpc, start typing in barrier, and then Minecraft:barrier will give you a barrier block, and then you can stop the villagers from moving. So we can have one here and one here. Ah, you look very learned, my friend. And I'm also going to hit them with a don't despawn name tag. Of course, you could call them individual names if you like, but just don't despawn, just so that it's nice and easy. And there we have a nice set, and we can do the exact same thing here for the news. And if you really want to get invested in this, then you can like give them individual outfits as well. So you can see that we have a librarian there, but you know, you can tailor them to whatever you would like. And we would have the same thing here for like the host of a talk show. So here, and I would also always err on the side of caution with the barrier blocks, by the way. So like if you think that that's too many, that's probably the correct amount. So we would also have a guest here. I've had too many villagers run away, so that's why I'm always a little bit crazy with the blocks. So we can have 2 people on the stage there, and you can have people working the booth, and you know, so on and so forth. Like, you don't have to go too crazy with this because you want to be able to walk around. You actually want to be able to like walk around this place, and you don't want to be like jutting it into barriers everywhere you go. But definitely some of these are definitely like beneficial, like one over here for instance as well. So we can trap a secretary here, and the same thing can go for upstairs too. So for instance, up here where we have the cameraman, it would make sense that we should probably have some villagers as well. So this is where the current filming situation is. So we will have at the very least one character here. Perfect. Wearing an apron as well, doing the ditch. Absolutely fantastic. So we don't need to have a bunch of these, but again, you know, it just makes sense. And there we go, ladies and gentlemen. That is the end of this tutorial, but not the end of the video. We must now take our entire TV studio and add it into our city. For now, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to place the TV studio at the edge of the city, next to our museum and Chick-fil-A, but ultimately I would like it to be more centered towards the, well, center of the city. But that is a problem for another time, and this video is over. I hope that you guys have enjoyed this tutorial. Please do remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel. If you are looking for more things to make by me, check out the mini city builds playlist down below in the description for everything that you can have and will not see on the screen right now. We have city builds, video game builds, movie builds, cartoon builds, you name it, we have it. Check the playlist down below. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.